What's up, guys? Welcome back to Strength 101, the podcast where we break down fitness and nutrition into its simplest form so that you can get the results that you want. It's me, it's Nick, and this is part 2 of how much exercise variation is too much variation. In part 1, if you haven't listened to it, go back to it. We talked about how you determine which exercise variations are best for growing muscle and give you a framework for looking at an exercise and saying, well, is this actually going to be productive for me, or am I doing something that's so complex that I'm just exercising and I'm not actually going to get results from a muscle size or strength perspective? So that's part 1. Today, what we're going to talk about is actual programs and how often you should switch them up. So there's going to be 2 parts to this, really. I'm going to give you 4 things that every good program should contain, and then I'm also just going to give you some feedback on what we have tried at Strength Academy and what we found out. So at Strength Academy, we change our workout program. When I say a program, I mean that when I write a program, I write out what we're trying to achieve. So we are focused mostly on muscle mass and strength. And so on any given program, I sit down and I say, okay, what do we want to do? And maybe for the next 4 weeks, I say that we want to grow our chest. I'm picking something upper body, and we want to grow our glutes. And that's going to be our big focus. We try not to focus on too many things because we write 3-day-a-week programs. These programs are for busy adults, people who can't be in the gym 5-6 days a week. We also want them to recover enough so they get maximum results. So 3 days a week. So I would write out a workout for day 1, a workout for day 2, and a workout for day 3. And then over the course of the 4 weeks, for the most part, those exercises, like the exercises that are on day 1, in week 2, day 1, it's going to be the same. In week 3, day 1, it's going to be the same. In week 4, day 1, it's going to be the same. And we make some small variations to the amount of sets we ask people to do, and sometimes we change the reps up a little bit. But those are minor variations compared to the consistency necessary to make change, which is, are you going to do the same workout at least 3 or 4 times in a row over the course of a month? And so for us, all of our Monday workouts look the same over 4 weeks. All of our Wednesday workouts look the same over 4 weeks. All of our Friday workouts look the same over 4 weeks with some slight variations to sets and to rep schemes. So that's what a program is. And like I just mentioned, at Strength Academy, we program everything in 4-week cycles. And we found that to be useful for 2 reasons. One, right when the members start to get bored, because most of our members are not like hardcore meatheads who are in the gym because they have some type of like past trauma that they got to get rid of, and so they've dedicated their entire life to being in pain and being the strongest, most egotistical person in the room. We know somebody like that, and so I'm just kind of making fun of them. But most of our members are general public, moms and dads who want to get stronger, they want to be more fit, and they're just not going to stick on a 12-week program where they do the same thing over and over and over again. They're just going to get bored. And so we try to mix things up as much as we can, and we found 4 weeks to be the sweet spot. So right when people are starting to get bored or their body's starting to get stressed from doing the same movement patterns at heavy weights over and over again, it switches up. 4 weeks is really nice. For me, it gives me a mental break. Like by the time I've done something for the 4th week in a row because I've got this squirrel on Adderall brain, I really do want to get onto something new. And then 4 weeks is also enough for most of us to actually make progress. And what I mean by that is you need to actually get markedly better at exercises in order to achieve that progressive overload that is necessary for growth in size and growth in strength. And so you need to do an exercise long enough in order to actually get better at it from both a skill standpoint and actually grow strength. And we found that 4 weeks is enough. It would probably be even better if it was 8 weeks, but we opt for not increasing boredom in our members because consistency is everything, right? So that's what we do, but what's the right thing to do? It's different for everybody. So today I'm going to talk to you about a good program has several things, 4 things in particular. So here's 4 things that a great program has. Number 1, a great program gives enough opportunity for an athlete, member, client, whatever you want to fill in, to learn the skill of the lift. This is what gets most people in trouble. Is the first time that you perform an exercise after you've had it a while where you haven't done it, you're not going to be your strongest. It just doesn't happen. Like if you bench press for 12 weeks and then you take another 12 weeks off, when you come back to the bench press, you don't just jump in right where you left off. There is a fall off of performance because you haven't been practicing that skill. You haven't been practicing that lift. You may be sore from the novelty of jumping back into it and you're like, hell yeah, I'm making a lot of change here. But you'll notice that after a couple weeks of getting back into something like a bench press, your strength will just increase drastically just from honing the movement pattern again, reawakening your body, like it remembering, oh my God, like I actually can do this. And honestly, there's a lot of neurological adaptation that happens. Like if I sit down and I do a bench press and the skill is kind of a little bit foreign to me because I haven't done it in a while, my body has just forgotten how to coordinate my muscles. And it will relearn that very quickly, but there's a neurological element to it. And so if you just do it once or twice, that's probably all the benefit you're going to get is the increase in the skill, the improvement of the skill. And it's once you have kind of maximized the improvement of the skill that you actually get to stress out the muscles and make the changes in growth and in strength. And so once you've improved the skill, you now are probably maximally recruiting the muscle. And once you've done that, you can actually make a change. So number one was, give yourself enough opportunity for an athlete to learn the skill of the lift. And so that means that it has to happen over a period of time. Now, I think that first one, actually giving yourself enough time to learn the skill of the lift, begs the question, well, how long then? And that's what number two is. Number two is a good program runs long enough to actually drive strength increases. And the crappy part about this is it's different for everybody. Everybody's different. You know, we have to make a decision in our gym that we're going to do 4 weeks because we can't cater to every single individual. But if I was a personal trainer working with one-on-one clients, I would need to recognize that some people who are very quick adapters, you want to think of your athlete that really learns activities fast, their strength improves drastically, like your very natural type 2 muscle fiber athlete, that person may need to switch up programs every 3 to 4 weeks because one, they might get bored. They need something to learn because they're a fast learner. And two, because they're a fast learner and they get better at things so quickly, they probably are going to start putting such heavy weights up that they're going to get beat up. They're going to start to get some overuse injuries, even if it's only been 3 or 4 weeks on a program. And so if you were working with an NFL linebacker who is at the height of neural adaptation and they're super strong and they're super aggressive and they really like a challenge, you may have to change something up for them every 3 or 4 weeks. Otherwise, they're going to get themselves hurt or they're going to make themselves extremely bored. Then you have the other end of the spectrum. Let's just like imagine this is the person who cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. They just, you know what? They're a great human, but they are just not naturally coordinated. They were never going to be a star athlete. It's just not in their genetics to neurally adapt to new activities very quickly. And I've trained plenty of people like this. I kind of think of this as like maybe some of these people did band instead of football, and that's totally fine. But they need a different type of programming. They can still make insane, massive strength gains. They can still get way better at things. But it's going to take them more time to do so because they're just a slower adapter. And so people like that might need 8, 12, 16 weeks. I'm thinking of a client that I had. Like I had some clients who were super athletic, and if I didn't change their program every 3 weeks, they were going to either get bored or they were going to start getting injured. Meanwhile, Tim, I could keep him on the same exact program. Literally, we could do the same workout every damn time, honestly. And I could keep him on that for 12 or 16 weeks, and he would continue to see market improvement the entire time. And it also just happens to be that a lot of people who are that type of genetic profile, they also seem to be fine sticking in things. Like they don't get bored as easily. There's some type of mental, like the way your mind works and the way your body works are very similar in these instances. And so somebody who needs more time to adapt usually is okay taking that slower road as well. And so that person, I shouldn't give them a 3-week program because as soon as they're 3 weeks in, they just feel like they're starting to get the hang of things and then I rip it away from them. No, it's better for some people to be on a longer program. So that's different for everybody. And the real litmus test of that is if I hop on a program, after 4 weeks, am I still seeing an increase without getting injured? Am I still seeing improvement? And if that's true, then I can push a program for 8 weeks. And if it's still true after 8 weeks, I can push it for 12 weeks. But if I start to see limited progress and I start to get hurt or I just am really losing my zest for the gym, then maybe I need to switch to shorter program lengths. Number 3, a great program ramps up in volume as it goes. Eventually, as you progress in your training, an increase in volume is going to be necessary to continue to drive strength and muscle mass changes. And now at our gym, and I would say in most circles where they're thinking about it correctly, we see volume as the number of stimulative sets in a workout or over a given week. In most of our programs, since we focus on muscle mass, we progress from week 1 to week 4. We try to hit in week 1, 6 stimulative sets per workout. And so let's break this down a little farther. let's say chest. I'm going to train chest. In week 1, I'm going to try to hit 6 stimulative sets on my chest. That means that I might bench press for 3 sets that I push close to failure. Then I go do a pec fly for an additional 3 sets where I push close to failure. That would be 6 stimulative sets in week 1. But at least the way we do things, as we go through the course of that program, we're going to start adding sets either to the bench press or to the pec fly so that by the end of the program, we may be closer to 9 or 10 stimulative sets in that workout. And so that might mean that it's 5 sets on bench press. Maybe we're down to like a 5x8 on bench press. And on the pec fly, we have 4 sets, and that would be 9 stimulative sets of chest in one workout. And so any good program should really ramp up on volume. Now, at some point in your training, your body's going to reach a limit on what volume it can actually handle, and that's completely dependent on how long you've been training. Or the workouts just become too long. Like, we hate pushing our workouts more than an hour because we train the general public. It's like, who has more than an hour to be in the gym? And if you're really training past an hour, how effective are you being? At that point, you need to switch the program. If either the workouts are becoming so long that you're just not having fun anymore, or you're doing so much volume that your body's beat to shit and you just can't recover, that's when you need to switch programs. And so a good program will start you at low volume and increase the volume as you practice those lifts. And number 4, a great program keeps you engaged. The most important thing is actually doing things that are enjoyable, that you're excited to do. And if something becomes too stagnant or it's so arduous that you just don't want to go to the gym, then you are missing the fundamental rule for all training, which is consistency is everything. It takes you, in all reality, if you're not juicing steroids and you're actually just a normal person trying to get the body of a Greek god, it is going to take you a good 10 years. And so consistency is the most important factor over the course of time. And the only way you're consistent is if you're engaged and you're excited about your training. So unless you're in some insane YouTube plant like David Goggins, you're just not going to do shitty hard work for the sake of doing shitty hard work. You have to enjoy it. You have to look forward to your training sessions. And that's where the consistency kicks in. And consistency is the baseline requirement for progress. Honestly, the best program in the world is a dog shit program if it's so unenjoyable that people never even start it or definitely don't finish it. And frankly, that's all a good program really needs. Like, programming isn't rocket science. And so let's go back over those things that I just said. 1, it gives enough opportunity for an athlete to learn the skill of lift. So that just means that you have to practice things to get better. You have to do them multiple times. That means that if I'm doing a bench press and I really want to get better at bench press, maybe I need to choose a program where I bench press 2 or 3 times a week instead of 1 time, because I need that practice. I need to actually get the skill of lifting, and that takes consistency. Number 2, it has to run long enough that it actually is going to drive strength increases over time, and that's up to the individual. Some people who are fast neural adapters, you're going to switch up your program every 3 to 4 weeks. Some people who are really slow neural adapters, they could do the same thing for 12 or 16 weeks. It just doesn't matter. It's what's right for you, but you have to run a program long enough to actually see marked strength increases. Otherwise, it's just going to be temporary, right? It's just going to be a temporary, you got a little bit better because you got better at the skill and you didn't actually make a change to the muscular structures. Number 3, it needs to ramp up in volume to some extent, right? It's just not realistic that you are going to run the same workouts multiple weeks in a row without any changes and just rely on hopefully the weights go up. You need to ramp up in volume at some point, especially if your goal is muscle mass. I would say the same thing for strength, honestly, because they're governed by the same property. And so it needs to ramp up in volume. That means on week 1, you may only do 6 sets of chest. And on week 4, you may be up to 10 sets on chest. And that can be for any muscle group. And how many sets you do is completely dependent on what muscle it is and what your training history is like. But it needs to increase over time. And then what we do is we do 4-week programs. It increases in volume. Then when we pop to a new program, it goes back down in volume again. And then we increase over the 4 weeks again. And then the last one is it keeps you engaged. It's exciting. That could be just the format of it. It could be the exercise selections. It could be the people you're hanging out with. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself engaged and continue to want to go to the gym, that's the most important factor. And so if you have a program right now, let's say you're listening to me on YouTube and you're like, well, I have this training program. Is it any good? Look at it and ask yourself, 1, most important, do I enjoy it? If you don't enjoy it, scrap it, because you're just going to give half-assed effort anyways, and half-assed effort never gained anybody any muscle. Number 2, am I getting better? As I've done this program, if I've given it a few weeks, am I getting better at both the skill of the training And is my strength actually improving? So that means like if I'm doing a bench press, I'm no longer shaky going up and down. I actually look like I'm a freaking ninja with the bench press. And then also, are the weights going up as I practice this? Then ask yourself, does it get harder as the program goes? So that means over the course of the 4 or 8 or 12 weeks that you're on a program, does it actually increase in volume? Does it get harder? That's what an increase in volume should really feel like. It should feel like the workout had more in it. It had more requirement for you to push and strain it. It had more stimulative sets that you were chasing. Man, it was much harder. And of course, there's going to be a limit to that, but it does have to increase in difficulty over the course of the program. And then always asking yourself, what am I trying to achieve? You know, programs can be rotated monthly to keep things fresh, but there always should be a larger goal at hand. And so that's what I mean when I say, what am I trying to achieve? If the goal is muscle mass, then most of the programming over the course of 3 months should include bodybuilding movements. You should, be doing things for your deltoids and your abs and all the little muscles that are considered aesthetics for the bodybuilding circle. And you should be focused on training specific muscles and getting specific muscle fatigue and isolation. And you should also probably be somewhere between the 5 and 15 rep range. It's a broad range, but somewhere in there is probably going to be best. In the general overview of 3 months, you want to stick in that range if you're really focused on muscle mass and bodybuilding. Now, if the goal is max strength, that's completely different because most of the programming over the course of 3 months should include your big compound lifts, your squats, your deadlifts, your rows, your presses. And you should probably be sticking between 1 and 8 reps, just focused on max performance. Those two things are different. Bodybuilding, you're probably going to be in the 5 to 15 more. You're going to be worried about more muscle isolation. In the strength, you're going to be worried about really getting good at these massive lifts, these big squats and benches and rows. And those two things are not the same. So over the course of 3 months, are you actually working towards one specific goal, or are you just jumping all over the place doing whatever you think is best? Like I said before, programming is not rocket science, guys. But as my coach, my favorite coach ever, Coach Roger Haynes of Monmouth College, always told me, Nick, a bad plan is better than no plan at all. And he was damn right about that, because if you make a bad plan, or even if you get a bad plan from somebody else, then you have a baseline so you can start making alterations. Switching things up too fast or too often is the fastest way to get frustrated with your results. At least if you don't know where to start, set a plan. Write something down and work that plan, and then you're going to have enough data and knowledge to know whether something needs to be changed. And you can go back and look at the 6 exercises that you did on that day, and you can say, man, I loved 1, 2, and 4, but 3 kind of never felt right. I never really increased in strength on it. It didn't actually feel it in the target muscle. And 6, I just felt like I was so dead by that time that it wasn't doing anything for me. So then you can change it for the next program. That's really all programming is. It's testing. It's trying things. It's saying this worked, so I'm going to do more of it. It says this didn't work, so I'm going to do less of that. Oh, this worked for a while, but now it doesn't work, so I got to switch it out. And that's what's fun about it. But if you're looking at either your program or you're trying to write your own program, then I would ask myself those 4 things that we just talked about. Does it give me an opportunity to learn the skill of lift? Can I get better at it? Yes or no? 2, does it run long enough for me to actually see a marked increase in strength? Am I actually seeing the weight go up over time? Number 3, does it ramp up in volume? Is week 1 the same workout as week 5? That probably shouldn't be happening. Week 5 should be significantly harder than week 1. And does it keep you engaged? Are you actually excited to show up to the gym? Is it varied up enough? Is the format's interesting enough that it feels like a challenge? It feels like you want to show up and you're kind of excited to get the results from what this program has to offer. Guys, programming can be tough. It's always a guessing game on whether somebody's program is really effective or not. Frankly, you have enough of your life left to just start testing things. That's the only way you find out. So hopefully this was useful. Hopefully this gives you a framework for how you can figure out exercise variation. Like I said, part 1 of this was all about how do I choose the proper exercises to put in my program. This part was all about how often do I switch up my programs? How do I know if my program's actually effective? Hopefully between these 2 things, you guys can just use those frameworks to analyze a program and say, this is probably going to work for me, or it's probably not. And guess what? If you don't have programs that you think are working for you, we have programs. Go to our website, reach out to us. We can set you up with plenty of programs that have been tested on hundreds of people in our gym already. Guys, if you're looking for more information about fitness, about muscle growth, about nutrition, any of the stuff we do, sometimes we're doing mentality stuff, find us at Strength 101. We're at Strength 101 on YouTube, obviously on all the podcast channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Guys, we're everywhere, and we're going to be everywhere. Get on board. We're going to do some learning. This was Strength 101. Peace out.